All right, so thank you for coming to Creating Harmony Through Delegation today. I'm really excited and honored to be presenting this to you today. I'm Stephanie Fritz. I'm the founder and chief exec wrangler of Exec Wranglers Virtual Assistant Services. And a little bit of background on me. Prior to founding Exec Wranglers, I spent over 20 years removing administrative worries from the hearts and minds of busy executives. And I saw firsthand how doing so freed them up to make a bigger impact. Now, we all know that delegation is a key factor in having harmony in both business and in life, but sometimes it's easier said than done. Today, I'll break it down into both levels and steps, and we'll dive deeper into what your zone of harmony is. I'm going to kick this off with a fun movie clip that illustrates delegation.
Hello? Anybody home? Where were you guys? Upstairs doing our homework.
It's the doctor said we had to.
Oh, she did. Doing your homework. How great. Hi, honey. Look at this place. It looks wonderful. All spick and span. Oh.
Dinner is served, madam.
Sorry.
Awesome. That harmonious look on Sally Field's face is exactly how we all want to feel in our businesses and our lives. What you didn't see in the scene just prior was Mrs. Doubtfire ordering takeout before plating it so beautifully. And the house got cleaned and the kids did their homework. Did you also notice how happy the kids were to see their mom so peaceful and relaxed? They represent all of the people in your life who love and support you. Okay, so here's the obligatory agenda slide. Here's what we'll be covering today. Why you should delegate, which speaks to self-care, less stress, empowering others, and freedom. What to delegate, where we'll dive into your zone of harmony. Who to delegate to, who to ask for help and collaborate with. How to delegate. Did you know there are levels of delegation? You'll also need a harmonious system by which to delegate. And lastly, when to delegate, which is the intersection of readiness and willingness. As I'm sure you're aware, there are many reasons to delegate. First and foremost, your health. We've all seen or experienced the effects that stress and overwhelm have on our bodies and our emotional states. There are literally thousands of articles on this, and you've likely experienced it firsthand. Delegation is self-care. Another reason to delegate is to scale and grow your business or your role at work. At some point, your inability to delegate will be a barrier to your growth. I'll repeat that. At some point, your inability to delegate will be a barrier to your growth. This also hints at when you should delegate, and we'll talk about that later. One person can only do so much, and you can help more people when you have support behind you. Here's a fun illustration of before and after delegation. Once you learn to delegate effectively, your health and your work can be in perfect harmony. With your health, your shoulders come down from your ears, you breathe more deeply. See the look of serenity on Sally Field's face from that clip. Delegation also allows you to take time away without jeopardizing your income. which in turn allows time for more self-care, prioritizing your health, family, and just general freedom. Now, in our world, the number one question we get is, what should I delegate? Or better yet, what should I not delegate? That leads us to honing in on your zone of harmony. So if you don't already have a notebook, you might want to grab one because we'll be writing some things down here. So you may have already seen this already presented elsewhere as the zone of genius. At Exec Wranglers, we call it the zone of harmony. Let's start with your incompetencies or stuff you don't know how to do. And in my business, this was stuff like accounting, designing a logo, building a website. Many times, we as brilliant and capable humans love to figure things out for ourselves. A couple of years ago, I was asked to submit a short video for a conference explaining what we do at Exec Wranglers. So I hopped on Canva with zero experience using their video tool. I wasted an entire day figuring out how to create a 40-second video. So take a minute and write some of your incompetencies down. All right, so next we have competence. This is stuff you're okay at doing, but you don't enjoy doing it. Now, this is obviously different for everyone, but when I was an executive assistant, this was expense reports. And because I disliked doing them, I'd procrastinate until the last minute and then be stuck doing a bunch of them all at once. So take another minute to write these down. All right, now that you have a list of some of your competencies, we'll move on to proficiencies, which is just a fancy word that means stuff you're really good at. You probably really enjoy doing these things, and you likely do them without thinking twice about it. For example, I love formatting documents, getting creative and making them look pretty. But do these things light me up or further my business? They do not. So write down some of your proficiencies as well. Okay. I call all of this stuff administrivia, which is a real word. I didn't make it up. It's in the dictionary. And the definition is the tiresome but essential details that must be taken care of and tasks that must be performed in running an organization. By empowering someone to do some or all of these things, you'll be able to spend more time in your zone of harmony, which in turn helps you grow your business. I love this quote by Jessica Jackley, co-founder of Kiva. Deciding what not to do is just as important as deciding what to do. So that's what we just went through. So now we're at the zone of harmony. So think of things that you do as part of your work where you walk away feeling energized. What lights you up or brings you joy? Or what might you do for free, but don't do it for free? So now at this point, you may have written some proficiencies down that are actually in your zone of harmony. So I'll give you a minute to write some of those down as well. So again, think of things that light you up, bring you joy, and when you finish doing them, you feel energized and want to keep doing more. Here's another quote that I love, and I even include it on our website. The things that excite you are not random. They are connected to your purpose. Follow them. Now that you know what you can delegate, we can talk about the who. For entrepreneurs, some administrivia, your incompetencies specifically, will need a specialist like an accountant, a marketing strategist, website designer, depending on the complexity of your website, or a small business lawyer, etc. For most of your other administrivia, you'll want to find someone like a virtual assistant. But how do you do that? You could ask for referrals for an individual VA. And the downside of that is you have to vet them yourself. And you're also limited to just their skill set. You could also go with an agency, but a lot of agencies will assign you with one VA. And again, you're limited to their skill set. So the pros are they've already vetted the VA. And the downside is, again, you're limited to one person's set of skills. Now, I'll explain how we do it at Exec Wranglers, and this is not a shameless plug, but if it comes off that way, then great. We do all of the vetting. We do background checks, multi-stage interview process. We do an attention to detail and a situational assessment. We assign them an internal project or task before assigning them to clients. And we have a best practices coaching session that is held by our wonderful Chief People Ops Wrangler, Kate Price. And we also have structured internal mentoring groups for the Wranglers, as we lovingly call them. In addition to that, the team works collaboratively, and that's typically behind the scenes. So I've said so many times to people, there is no unicorn VA who knows how to wrangle all of your administrivia, but collectively, our team makes a unicorn VA. Now, if you're an employee or an executive, you'll likely be delegating to someone on your team. And everything we're going to cover here next applies to that as well. So now that you have a better idea of what you can delegate, we can talk about the how. Here are the levels of delegation, and depending on who you ask, it might be 4, 5, 6, or even 7 or more steps. We'll keep things simple and consolidate it into 4. Think of these as the pathway to empowerment, which we'll cover a little bit more after this. The most basic level is direct instruction. This is simply telling someone what to do and how to do it. Generally, these are going to be more straightforward tasks, but you'll need to provide all of the information they'll need to accomplish them. So think of something simple like making an appointment for you. There's no empowerment at this level, but you're building trust so that you can move to the next level, which is research and propose. Research and propose is where the person doing the work will gather information based on your request, provide you with some options along with their recommendation. So one example of this in my world, when I was an executive assistant, is booking travel. And if you've had someone book travel for you, you know, you still need to give them all of the parameters, but they're going to go out, they're going to research the best fares, the most direct routes, and then come back to you with 2 or 3 options, but one recommendation that makes the most sense for you. Then when you're able to move to the next level, act and report, the person doing the work can handle it as they see fit, but they also need to keep you updated on both their progress and the completion. You'll be giving feedback during the progress reports, which will help prepare them for the next level. So lastly, we have full empowerment, the just handle it level, or as I like to call it, the just wrangle it level. The person doing the work has full ownership of the project and is trusted to make all decisions necessary to complete it. This does not mean you won't have any communication with them. This is a collaboration. Schedule regular sync meetings and make sure you're consistently giving and getting feedback. So now we'll talk a little bit more about empowerment. Many of you probably already empower people because it's just who you are as humans, but this was an awesome illustration that I found that explains it really well. You already know that empowerment is not handing something to someone and letting them fend for themselves or standing by watching them struggle. You'll need to open up to them, share your goals and your why, and when needed, encourage them, listen to their needs, offer advice, teach and mentor them, help them overcome any challenges, all while affirming their strengths. True leaders empower the people who work with them, and this results in an amazing collaborative environment for your team. I'll tell a quick story about empowerment in my life, personal life. When my son, who's now 15, became old enough to start helping out around the house, he was around 7 or 8 years old, I think. I felt really good about helping him learn how to do things like his own laundry, feeding the dogs, folding towels, and eventually unloading and loading the dishwasher. This last one was a bit of a challenge because if you're like me, you have your way of doing this, which of course is the right way. Am I right? So eventually, if I wanted the task completed, I had to let go. Me harping on him to put things the way I would have done it wasn't helping or empowering him. So I let go, and the dishes still got clean without me having to do it. So now when he complains about doing a chore, I just tell him I'm empowering him. As we alluded to earlier, there are steps in addition to levels of delegation. And the good news is you've already completed the first step, which is identifying tasks or projects to delegate. The second step, documenting your processes, is where most people get stuck. You'll want to have your processes outlined or documented in some way in order to train someone else to do it. And this is, if you think about this, this is more at the empowerment level. This is not at the direct instruction level. But documenting your processes sometimes is tedious and painful, right? So I'll give you a pro tip. This is what we do at Exec Wranglers with our clients. Use a screen recording tool like Loom or Berrycast to record yourself talking through a process as you do it. You're already doing these things yourself anyway, right? And you can add in commentary about how you would like things done. Then you can delegate it and they can create the written documentation and include the videos. Then moving forward, if your team member is out sick or moves on, the next person will ramp up much faster. The third important step is to create a system to facilitate delegating. There are a ton of tools out there to help you. I have shiny tech object syndrome. So I've tried out a few of these, but there's Trello, there's Asana, there's ClickUp. Really, you want to work with a tool that works best for you. If you have a VA can oftentimes recommend a tool if you don't have something already in place. And then the final step is to let go, just like I did with the dishwasher. Documenting everything is tedious, but letting go is sometimes the hardest part. Sometimes we expect ourselves to be able to do it all. And it might sound cliche, but just because we can do it all doesn't mean we have to or that we should. So right now, I invite you to write down 2 or 3 items that you could delegate in your business today or in your role at work today. And if you find yourself resisting letting go of control, that's totally okay. We're just dreaming right now. We're just letting ourselves feel what it would be like to have these pressures taken off of your plate. What amount of time, energy, effort, and creativity could be freed up for you if you were willing to delegate these tasks? All right, so here is a quick example of a delegation system. This is a Trello board that I set up to use with my VA. And I use Zapier to add tasks here from Google Tasks automatically. And I recently discovered that I could set up a Trello email that I could forward emails to, and it will create a card on a designated board or a designated card. That's a total game changer. Definitely want to make life easiest for yourself as possible. One delegation tip that I'll mention that I've had to learn the hard way is set deadlines. Even if you don't need the task done by a specific date, set a deadline. Otherwise, it may fall through the cracks, and then you won't realize that it's fallen through the cracks until it's urgent. The last piece we'll cover is when to delegate. When depends on both your readiness and your willingness. Readiness means that you're tired of working in your business and not on your business. You have your processes documented in some way so that you can train someone to do them. And you have the framework of a delegation system in mind. I'll reiterate what I said earlier. At some point, your inability to delegate will be a barrier to your growth. If you're just starting out in a business, start documenting processes as soon as you can, as you go along, so it will be less painful when you are ready to delegate. Willingness means that you are willing to let go. It's being okay knowing that someone else may not do things the exact same way you would, but the result will be the same or even better. It's being willing to empower someone else. And it's being ready to have your shoulders come down from your ears and to have that look of relief that Sally Field had in that clip. Then there's the tipping point where you have some growth coming in. And now at some point is now, where you know that doing all of the things is holding you back. You'll start out by finding someone with the skills. You'll start at the first level of delegation, build some trust, move to the next level until you can take your hands off of the wheel. If needed, you can then bring on the next person and the next. And at the end of the day, being an entrepreneur can be stressful and lonely. It's way more fun to have a team of empowered individuals to work with. Collaborating is so much more fun than doing it alone. And delegation and empowerment will help you scale and grow your business and provide you with the freedom you need to focus on the things that matter to you in your life. I want to thank everyone for attending and watching after the fact, and I hope you have a wonderful day. If anyone has any questions, or if you would like to schedule a one-on-one delegation strategy assessment, I'm happy to do that as well. You can always reach out to us at execwranglers.com. Thank you so much and have a great day.